Hey everybody, welcome to the Hobby Room. My name is Alex and this is my midlife crisis. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I made this grade crossing over here. And I bought the little pieces, you know, the ramps and the gates and all of that stuff, but that doesn't make it work for every situation. This grade crossing is on a curve. There's two tracks, there's not one track, so there were a lot of challenges involved. Primarily, it's just drywall compound and paint. And this is how I did it. You can see that I had just enough clearance. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a dam here. And basically I've just cut some foam and I'm just going to make a little dam by sticking it in between the tracks.
Good news, everyone.
Apparently there's good news. So that one's a little loose. I may have to redo that. So when I put the compound in here, it'll keep it from going out to the sides. Next thing though is that on the outside of the track, I want it to end up being even with this. This is probably a dumb idea. I'm not really sure. How else to do this. Yeah, these guys, this isn't gonna work. So I still need to figure out some way to draw a line right there. As you can see, I put a piece of tape here to prevent anything from going past that because I do not want any compound to go past the end of this on the road, on the street, which is already laid down. But I don't care if it's in this area. So basically I think what I'm going to do for this, so I was thinking that I could just use this as a dam, but I don't know if I can or not. So let's see. That might work. I just have to be really careful and not cut myself. Yeah, that'll work. I'm using all-purpose drywall compound. I have a cup of clean water standing by. And basically, I'm just going to use my fingers. Don't see any reason to use anything fancy. That amount is probably more than I need for the entire job. So this I wasn't expecting. It's kind of sticking to my fingers. So because the dams are actually higher than the rails, I'm probably going to need to sand this a lot. I think what I need to do is get my finger wet. Okay, yeah, that's helping quite a bit. I'm going to wait till this dries a little bit more before I try to fit these. So it turns out I need a little bit more. So the secret to working with this is the wet finger. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and let that dry, and we'll come back to it in a little while. Before everything dried, I didn't catch it on camera, but I smoothed this using that so that I'll have less sanding to do. We've been drying for a few hours, and I am going to start on the grooves for the track. So I'm taking a push pin and some water. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for another few hours, and we'll come back and make those grooves a little bit more permanent. I put this down to test fit it, but when I picked it up, I started pulling stuff away from where it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and just see if I can shape this with it in place. Guess we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. I was thinking about using this. I think that's too thick. Maybe too wet. Yeah. Let it dry a little bit more. So this has had long enough to dry, so I'm gonna pull this and see what it looks like. Alright, I like that. Looks like I've got a nice clean edge there. I'll clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna pull these guys out. Oh, less happy about that. This is not yet dry underneath here. Alright, so this is not quite dry. Alright, let me see about, I can just kind of scrape the top of it. So that actually will look pretty good. So just kind of using the rails as a guide. It's kind of breaking up there on that edge. I'll have to get a car. I have to say, overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I don't feel any bumps when I go across it like that. Let's try this side. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a thing there. Should be fine. All right, I'm going to let this dry another probably 24 hours, and then we'll go ahead and paint it. I'll be able to ballast right up to the edge of this, and I think that will look good. All right, I went ahead and cleaned the track, and we're going to check and see what it looks like when the train comes by. So no problems there, but this is the one that I'm worried about. Oh, all right, too close. Alright, it's been about 24 hours. And this is still not dry. That feels dry. I'm just going to take this and just rinse it off underneath some clean running water. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. And I'm going to leave this off so that this can dry. Alright, everything is dry. I need to file down these edges. See if I can do this without breaking anything. So I'm actually wondering if I should do just another really light coat on all of this to see if I can even out those ripples. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but there are little ripples here. So I mean, I'm just using a touch. That's probably too much. And we'll let that dry. That should dry very quickly though. Before it gets too dry, I'm going to go ahead and create my wheel grooves. Alright, now that everything is dry and smooth, I want to just get down. See if I can smooth everything out a little bit more. See how stuff runs across there. So that's a little rough. That's a little rough also, so I'm going to have to let's see if we can match that paint color. Is it really that easy? Alright, I'm going to do a couple coats on here. We'll let it dry and then we'll find out if it's really that easy. So here's a lesson for you. Don't use paint tape on your stick-on roads. Oh man, look at that. That is pretty good. super happy with that. What I'm gonna do today is try to match this gray. And I don't know how successful I'm gonna be. If I can't match it, what I'll do is I'll probably repaint these, but I think we'll be able to match it. So that is obviously way lighter than that. I might have been better served to start with the black and add gray, but let's see how this goes. I think one more drop of black will do that. Let's try it. So, wow, that looks still too light. Still too light. Ooh, that looks very, very close. So let's put some on there. Let's see how it goes. So I'm actually going to start with the easy one over here. And it's not there yet. It's still too light. Not by a lot, but a little bit. All right, I have to say that looks good. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in with black paint and touch up here where it was it looks like it was airbrushed from the factory and didn't have really a clean line right there. And I think now I want to come back and make that a clean line. That is satisfactory. Alright, so I'm going to try to paint a white line on here. So I think if it all goes pear-shaped, I can just take this up and try a different way. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go extended all the way down. I'm just going to do the middle part and then perhaps a short bit on each side. So let's see how that looks. And now we watch paint dry. Alright, let's see how it turned out. Oh, that is not bad. All right, so I think I can clean that up with a brush and some black paint. Where's my tiny brush? Oh, there it is. Well, I admit my bias, but I think that looks pretty darn good. A thumbnail along the top of the rail. We'll clear the paint away. Eventually I think I would like to do a coat of primer and make these look a little more realistic. But for right now, I'm going to say that I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And once I fill this in with ballast, it'll look even better. Alright, so this isn't glued down yet, but that's what the ballast looks like next to it. I overfilled, so I'm going to have to figure out how to pick this ballast up. But that looks good. So there you have it. That's how I made that grade crossing. The whole process took about 4 hours. Although that 4 hours is spread over several days because of the dry time of the compound primarily. Also, you know, there's brainstorming, trying to figure out how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that. So I hope you either learn how to do something or how to not do something. Either way is a benefit. And while I'm trying to think of something clever to say for the outro, here are some glamour shots.